You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome to the program, everyone. I'm Brian Craig, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. So we got a lot to cover on the podcast today, so stay tuned. Every segment is going to be chock full of important information. And, you know, we have had a lot of great news today. The latest great news is that Jacob Chansley, he's the shaman.
Yeah.
He's been released. And by the way, this is early release. He's been released from prison. And
that's amazing.
Now, he's in a halfway house at an undisclosed location. They don't want to say where because they don't want people to go to him and everything. And after the halfway house, I don't know if we can expect to hear him or see any interviews anytime after that for a while because he'll still be on probation, parole, whatever they do. But this guy, this is absolutely amazing, okay? And there's a lot to say here, or as they say on Outnumbered, there's a lot to unpack here.
Yeah.
I hate that.
That's Harris Faulkner's favorite phrase.
I hate that. There's a lot. We have lots to unpack.
I know a lot of people like Harris Faulkner, and I used to like her, but she's getting like Oprah with the wow and the feel good. I don't know. She's getting annoying.
She's
to
in
me.
love with herself. Her ego's out of control.
A little.
So back to the shaman here. This is an amazing thing, okay? You know, he was in solitary confinement
It's crazy.
for 11 months.
Oh, my goodness.
He was released 14 months early, and he served 27 months, that's amazing that he served that long. So he served just over 2 years. Now, here's my question to you, and this is a serious question, and this is the question everyone should be asked. 27 months in prison, all right? That's just over 2 years, 2 years, 3 months. He is the face of the Capitol breach, right? If he is the face of an insurrection against the United States government, do you think 27 months is a little light of a sentence for someone who led an insurrection?
Yeah.
And the reason I ask that is because if this truly was an insurrection, he wouldn't be getting out of prison. He'd be doing 27 years, not 27 months, and he wouldn't be out early in a halfway house either. An insurrection against the federal government is a big thing. And the very fact that he's gotten out after 27 months shows that the government does not view it as an insurrection. So all these people in the fake news corporate media, they keep calling it an insurrection. The face of it got out after 27 months. And also it's being reported through his legal team that he got this early release because of Tucker Carlson's story from a couple weeks ago. You know, where Tucker showed that he was being escorted around by the Capitol Police. And we learned a lot, okay, for that Tucker Carlson show. Even though it was the only one that he aired, which we'll talk about in a bit, when he was going to do a whole week on January 6th. He only did the one show. He got him out. That video showed us some things that we did not know for sure. And I know, I hate to do the disclaimer. I know people are going to say, we already knew all of this. I love these people that just know everything. There's a difference between suspecting something and having evidence that proves our suspicions to be fact, okay? And what Tucker Carlson did with the footage that Kevin McCarthy gave him with only that one night of stuff that he did, confirmed and showed video evidence that our suspicions about a lot of the things we heard were correct. And I'll tell you what, there were two things in particular, and that's why this guy got out of prison. And I think President Trump in his second term is going to pardon this guy and clear his record. And the two things that came out from that were
I think they should sue.
One, the
false imprisonment.
The tour.
You know why? Because they knew this. They hid this evidence.
They did. Yeah, the two things were when they gave him the tour, it was more than just the guards, the Capitol Police giving him a tour. Mm-hmm. The Capitol Police were leading him around. And what the Capitol Police are doing in that video is looking for an unlocked door so he can go into the Capitol building.
To get their photo.
I'm sorry, not the Capitol building. He was in the Capitol building. Looking for an unlocked door so he could go into the Senate chamber. And then when he got into the Senate chamber, when they finally found an unlocked door and took him into the Senate chamber, that pool photographer from the fake news media was waiting and asked the shaman to pose for the pictures that he took that made him the face of the Capitol breach. And
liberals are so sneaky and conniving.
That's how they operate.
They're playing on a whole other level than Republicans. Well, they really are.
Well, one thing Tucker said, and he didn't get into the details on this, he said that he couldn't find any footage of him entering the Capitol. That's interesting. And I think the reason that is, I think that footage was destroyed. And I'll tell you why, because they brought him inside, the Capitol Police, I suspect. This is what I think happened.
That they grabbed him from...
Yeah, this is what I think happened. The powers that be that were watching the surveillance video saw him, and they saw the wild getup he was wearing. He looks like a Viking, right? And everything.
With the horns.
They saw this wild getup, and they made a decision. Wow, we're going to make this guy the face of this. We got that photographer in the Senate chamber. Send a couple of the Capitol guys out there.
Exactly what happened.
And they went and got him and escorted him in and took him in. The whole thing with him was a setup.
That's right.
And a staged event.
And they knew it. They covered it up. And he should sue. And, who knows? Maybe he never would have entered the Capitol if they hadn't found him and escorted him around. He might have stayed outside and just done his thing out there. But they grabbed him. Oh, come with us.
Yeah.
This and that. He should sue for wrongful imprisonment. And the January 6th committee should be disbanded for lying to the American people and covering up. I'm sure there's more, but they threatened Tucker with whatever, probably losing his show, and he's a coward. And how many other men could he have gotten out of jail early if he would have played more footage?
Well, I mean, so this is an absolutely amazing thing that happened. And now that he's not out yet, right? He's halfway out. He's in a halfway house.
Sure, it's better.
And like I said, even when he's off of that, he'll still be under, probation and, and supervision. And he's probably terrified. But this is a big story that he's released, and it totally clears this idea that there was an insurrection that day. Okay,
I agree. And I hope he doesn't do interviews and bash Trump and blame Trump.
Well, that may be part of the conditions of his release, like Michael Cohen.
No, because he can't go on and sue for false imprisonment, which I think they're going to do, or do whatever. If he says that, he has to blame the police that led him and put on their shoulders, not on Trump's.
The truth about what happened with him will come out.
It will.
When President Trump is in his second term and we have decent people running the Justice Department and these other agencies, this stuff will all come out and people will be able to speak on the record. And when people are pardoned, and he's going to be one of the people that are pardoned, it'll be a big deal. And I know a lot of people say he'll never do this. Jimmy Carter pardoned the draft dodgers that fled to Canada. And that doesn't seem like a big deal now to people. Well, big deal. They dodged the draft. They went to Canada. What's the big deal? Well, here's the thing. These draft dodgers that dodged the draft and went to Canada, somebody else had to take their spot.
Yeah.
So a lot of those draft dodgers that were pardoned got another guy killed, because there are people that went to Vietnam and got killed in the place of where a draft dodger would have been. And Carter...
I don't know. If I had a son, I'd probably buy them a ticket to Canada. I mean, we watched Gettysburg last night, and that was a horrible thing to see all those people getting killed. And, if your kid is that age, you do desperate things to save your kid's life.
Yeah, whatever. But when Carter pardoned them, those draft dodgers were bad people. Many of them are responsible for the death of others because somebody had to take their place. And they were pardoned, and it was very controversial at the time, and people were furious about it. Vietnam veterans were furious.
Oh, I'm sure.
Parents were and Carter did. So, and you know what? People don't even think anything of it anymore. And the same will go with the January 6 prisoners. There will be a lot. I don't know if Trump will pardon all of them.
Oh, I think he will.
But I think the chances are that he will. And he's going to pardon certainly a whole chunk of them. But I think he'll pardon everybody, probably. Mm-hmm. We don't know for sure. He hasn't really said. He's talked about pardons once or twice, not for a while. But one of the reasons they need to be pardoned is so we can get to the truth of what happened that day. Because right now, they still have charges in their minds, and I understand the kind of life they're living. So somebody like the shaman may not be so quick to tell us everything that happened because he's afraid they'll lock him back up.
Do you think Trump, when he's going to replace Garland? Do you think they're going to go after these people that investigated the January 6th people and investigate them?
Oh yeah, Liz Cheney and them. Oh yeah, they're
Kinzinger and
but the problem is Congress makes the laws, and Congress makes the laws so that they can break the law while they're in Congress. So you're well, yeah, that's true. You're not. They may be able to investigate and find all these things they did, but they're not going to be able to prosecute them for any crimes. I promise you. Now, so that's just great news about the shaman, and that's something that should definitely be celebrated.
Absolutely. Now, that's a big deal. I'm happy for him because he was railroaded, and like I said, he was walking around outside. And, if Tucker couldn't find any footage of him going into the Capitol, that tells me that they brought him in like underground.
Or they destroyed the footage.
But there might be like a door outside that leads to an underground tunnel.
Oh, I'm sure there's secret ways in.
So you're right. It could have been that, or it could have been the footage destroyed. But, there's definitely a cover-up going on here. So I'm happy for him. And when that footage aired, I was hoping that would help him get out earlier.
Yeah.
What a disgrace.
Hey, good morning, Brian. It's Lisa. And just a couple things I wanted to say. It was Adam Putnam that he was.
Putnam, that's correct. Adam Putnam was the Republican who was going to beat DeSantis in the Republican gubernatorial primary until Trump came in and saved him.
Yeah. Yeah, there was a woman too named Gwen something, but and then also about DeSantis signing that. Oh, well, let me tell you, if he does sign that the Daily Mail's talking about, that's totally it, if not already.
But,
I mean, he's pretty much sealed.
Would he do that? Would he do that?
At this point, I'm saying he would. The way he's acting now with his smugness and his smarmy attitude and everything, I say he would. And one other thing I wanted to tell you real quick is that my husband and I received our My Pillow 2.0 that we ordered with Kane the other day, the buy one, get one free, and they're our first My Pillows, and we love them. We absolutely love them. I just wanted to make sure I got that in.
Well, that's awesome. With the cooling technology, have you slept on them yet?
2 nights.
Oh, wow. That's great. That's great. They're pretty awesome, huh?
Oh, they're absolutely, you get them out of the container and you fluff them up and you can make them as thick or thin, and they stay that way. I mean, they're just absolutely marvelous. Yeah, I'm so glad I broke down and finally got them. I got slippers on the way, too.
Oh, you'll love the slippers. I have 2 pairs of them. Steve was wearing his slippers on our cruise to dinner. You have to dress for dinner, even on formal night. And Steve was wearing his My Pillow, My Slippers, even in the dining room on our cruise. Well, his wife didn't like it. But I said, no. Steve said, can I wear my slippers to dinner? On the dress
that's
up
hysterical.
on formal night? I said, yeah. And Lori's like, no. I said, Steve, come on.
That is so funny.
Think I'm kidding?
Anyway, no, that's great.
Listen, I appreciate that. The MyPillow 2.0, buy one, get one free at MyPillow.com with our promo code Kane, Kane.
Now, there was another happening today that is the beginning of something that may not be a good thing, and most everybody listening to this program is going to disagree with me, and that's okay. But I think if those of you who disagree with me on this, and some of you will disagree with passion with what I'm about to share with you, I will be proven right in your mind on this at some point in the future, okay? Libs of TikTok, the woman that is behind the Libs of TikTok is amazing. Okay, she is absolutely amazing. Libs of TikTok is the most important Twitter account on the whole platform. She's responsible for policy decisions that have been made all over this country. Ron DeSantis and other Republicans around this country that are taking on this bizarreness with the trans and the drag shows and everything is all a direct result of Libs from TikTok exposing this stuff in the beginning. And she started a whole
She's got a great
movement.
logo. Whoever did her logos, it's one of the best logos I've ever seen.
It sure is. So Libs of TikTok did something this week, and she's been doing things like this slowly over the past few months, which I'll tell you about in a moment. But the first mistake that the woman from Libs of TikTok made was making her identity public, and start doing interviews and showing herself, and that was a mistake, because there are people that hate her more than anyone else on this earth.
She made herself a target,
and they're never going to leave her alone for the rest of her life. So what she's done on top of that just now, and this is just on Twitter today, was a big mistake. She got hooked up with the Heritage Foundation, which I've followed the Heritage Foundation for years. I got no beef with them. I don't think they're never Trumpers. I haven't paid attention to the Heritage Foundation in a long time, but they're very conservative. I don't know. I don't think they're anti-Trump, but if they are, I don't want anything to do with them. But you know who the Heritage Foundation are. She's connected now somehow to the Heritage Foundation, and she's now pulling stunts. She's twice confronted AOC. She confronted AOC at an event, at a public event, like a book signing or something that AOC was at, and they had a quick exchange, and AOC called her a transphobe or something. And then she filed an official complaint with Congress against AOC. This is the Libs of TikTok girl. And then she went to AOC's office at the Capitol building and served the complaint to her office staff and filmed it all and did a stunt. And that is a very bad idea. And I know what some people are going to say.
Why do you think that?
She can go wherever she wants. It's America. Listen, AOC just got bought by the Chinese, the CCP, right? She got on TikTok, AOC, for the first time.
She's their new spokesperson.
She made a TikTok, and then we find out that one of the Hispanic groups in Congress got a big donation from the CCP.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
there you go.
She is now. Yeah. What Kathy said is right. AOC is now a spokesmodel for the CCP.
That's right.
And I know she's always been connected with
along with every other Democrat.
Yeah, I know AOC's always been connected with some very dark people. Okay, very bad people. But once you get picked up by the CCP, like she has done, Mitch McConnell, Feinstein, Biden, and others, you have a special protection. And what's going to happen with the Libs of TikTok is they're going to destroy her life now. If she continues, she's starting this thing where it's like her versus AOC. And I'm making the prediction right now, something they're going to start harassing her. They're going to get her on something. You know how they're going after Trump all the time with investigations?
That's what they do.
They're going to do that to her.
Well, they had that one guy that just got investigated by they sent the
guy from the Twitter files. But a lot of these people though, like Donald Trump, right? He has the support of tens of millions of us. And plus he's a billionaire 10 times over. The Libs of TikTok, she's not a billionaire 10 times over. I know we all like her, but she doesn't have tens of millions that are behind her like Trump.
Yeah, I think she's trying to. And that's clearly why she's doing this, because it's lucrative. My belief is with Libs of TikTok, okay? I like Libs of TikTok. I follow it. In fact, I today on the show this morning, I played a clip from Libs of TikTok. I go there all the time. I'm a strong supporter of Libs of TikTok. But this challenging of the CCP AOC pulling stunt, she's trying to act like she's James O'Keefe. And you don't think it's worth the risk to
I think she's
expose these people?
She's not exposing AOC. She's pulling stunts she's doing publicity stunts for herself. She's not exposing AOC. And what she was doing on Libs of TikTok, what she does on Libs of TikTok is so important. This whole thing of taking on the drag shows in the schools like Ron DeSantis is doing here in Florida and taking on critical race theory in the classrooms is because of her. On Libs of TikTok, she was showing these teachers that were showing this that were bragging about CRT and other things in the classroom, and it's gone viral because of her. And Libs of TikTok is probably one of the most effective grassroots conservative activists in modern American history. And pulling these stunts for publicity that she's doing is going to damage the good work she's doing. They're trying to get her anyway. If Elon didn't own Twitter, they'd gotten her off Twitter. They can't get her off Twitter, So they're going to find another way to destroy her, and she's walking into their trap.
What would you do if you had these accounts and you were getting phone calls from governors and President Trump and other groups that were encouraging you to grow your brand? And because she brings content that's so vital and important and enlightening to everybody, they want to see her grow and see her use her platform for other things to expose this stuff. If you were her, and obviously you want to maintain your anonymity and stuff, like Cat Turd kind of does. Cat Turd is big on Twitter, and he was even talked about on Rachel Maddow the other day. But he's done interviews, but nobody knows his name or what he looks like. I think having some mystery is good. But if you were her and you wanted to grow your brand, what would you do? Okay, she posts things on Twitter, and that's huge. She has merch, which is good. But say she wants to become, make more money, which is great. This is America. I think my personal opinion is she should do a podcast, and she can keep her face out of it. She can maintain some privacy.
Yeah.
But she can upload a podcast called Libs of TikTok, the podcast, to Spotify, YouTube, and bring on guests and bring on these people. I think Cat Turd has a podcast. And I think that would be a good avenue for her because she clearly wants to create some kind of media brand.
Well, what would
you do?
Libs of TikTok could still speak at CPAC and do television interviews without revealing her identity.
How?
She could zoom in and not show her face. I think she should not. What's happened with Libs of TikTok is this is what she's doing. She wants the fame. So she wants the fame.
Yeah, she wants people to know.
And she's doing such great and important work, and it's going to stop that work.
Right. You're afraid that they're going to find a way.
Going to AOC's office is the beginning of the end of Libs of TikTok.
I don't know if that was such a smart move of hers to do that because AOC seems very childish and vindictive.
Oh yeah.
And if she is being if she's on the payroll for China and
she is,
and China owns TikTok, there could be an issue for her there.
Yeah.
Now what is she going to do if they get rid of TikTok, which I just don't think is going to happen. I don't think they're going to get rid of TikTok anytime soon. I really don't.
China has
can't
too
see
much
that happening.
China has too much influence in Washington.
Exactly.
TikTok's not going to be banned until Trump's back.
These hearings are just a dog and pony show. And what they're doing is they're getting politicians to and they're probably, a lot of them are being paid, and they're getting them to pretend like they're putting their feet to the fire, and they'll make some changes, some amendments to the app. They'll put in some safety things, but then they'll go along their merry way back to business as usual. They're not going to get rid of this. It's all to make it look like they're doing something.
I just want to make sure you guys understand. I am a big supporter of Libs of TikTok. What I see her doing.
You just think this was a bad idea.
What I see her doing because she wants fame and credit, I see her self-destructing.
She's poking the bear.
And
she's poking the bear.
When I saw her with the guy from the Heritage Foundation, they're using her. The Heritage Foundation is all about raising money for the Heritage Foundation, and they're using her, and they don't care about her cause or what she's doing. They're using her. They're using her clout to make themselves relevant.
This happened to Paula Jones. If you watch the movie, what's that movie called?
Impeachment.
With Clive Owen, which is very good. Impeachment. They do a whole thing with Paula Jones. Remember, she got a nose job and braces. A right-wing group, a conservative group, whatever. Judith Light plays the person who's in charge of this group, latches onto her, shuffles her around the country. They buy her new clothes and this and that. They garner a settlement with her and all this. And then as soon as they're done with her, they cut her loose.
That's what's happening.
And they take their cut
TikTok.
And then they're done with her.
Yeah.
And hopefully, but it's not unheard of for somebody to get latched up with a bigger conglomeration. I mean, that's, so hopefully, but we'll see what happens. I wouldn't have probably pulled a stunt like that. I would have done other things and maintained a little privacy. But she wants the fame.
That's what I was telling you. These evil people on the left are trying to shut her down, and she's doing things that are helping them shut her down. Now, listen, we're going to take a quick break. When we get back, there's a lot more to talk about. We've only just started. There's a lot going on. Don't go anywhere. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. We'll be right back. Are you struggling to connect with your teen? Are you worried about the troubles your teen is facing in today's world? Don't miss out on the ultimate guide to faith-led parenting with the book from Script Seeds, Parenting Teens Through Faith, available on Amazon. Parenting Teens Through Faith is your essential handbook to raising confident, resilient, and empowered teenagers. This book provides practical advice for providing a strong, faith-based foundation for building character, virtues, and resilience in your teen. You'll also discover essential biblical principles for providing hope and confidence, no matter your faith background. Start building a stronger, more resilient family with Parenting Teens Through Faith, available in Kindle, paperback, and hardcover editions on Amazon. This book is perfect for church groups. Order your copy right now. From author Sean Smith comes a children's book that teaches valuable lessons on kindness, empathy, and standing up to bullies. The Madison Hotel, available on Amazon. In this engaging story, 3 men arrive at the Madison Hotel, each with a different attitude. As they interact with the hotel staff and each other, their actions have consequences that affect those around them. The Madison Hotel teaches children valuable lessons on how to handle bullies and build the resilience they need to overcome their challenges. Unfortunately, bullying is very prevalent among children, but the Madison Hotel is a tool to help your child feel empowered and confident in the face of bullying. With an engaging story that's easy for kids to understand, the Madison Hotel will help your child learn how to regain control of their own happiness. Order your copy of The Madison Hotel, available in Kindle and paperback, and give your child the tools they need to feel proud of themselves and confident in their ability to handle any challenge. Make a positive impact in your child's life today with The Madison Hotel from author Sean Smith, available on Amazon. Time is precious, especially when it comes to our brain health. In the past, Alzheimer's was thought to only affect the elderly, but today, there's a concerning rise in cases in younger individuals. It's time to take proactive measures. Introducing Brain Health Protocol, an Alzheimer's Defense, from author Steve Sargent. This comprehensive guide will help you understand the multiple factors contributing to Alzheimer's and provide actionable steps to minimize your risk of falling prey to its devastating effects. Even if you or a loved one has already been diagnosed, there's hope. Brain Health Protocol offers strategies to potentially save your brain from further decline. Don't wait until it's too late. Get your copy of Brain Health Protocol, an Alzheimer's Defense, from author Steve Sargent, on Amazon, and take control of your brain health. Are you looking for unique and beautiful crafts, gifts, and home decor that will bring happiness to your life? Look no further than veteran-owned Arctic Fox Market, an Etsy shop that's based in Texas and features handmade personalized gifts and home decor with the option for customization. Arctic Fox Market takes pride in their work and strive to create pieces that will bring a smile to your face every time you look at them. They welcome special requests and personalizations, so don't hesitate to message them with any questions or requests you may have. They offer bulk order discounts on select items. Arctic Fox Market is owned by a proud mother of 4 who started creating resin crafts as a hobby, and it's now become her passion. Each piece is unique, ensuring that there are no two exactly alike. Visit Arctic Fox Market right now at etsy.com/shop/Arctic Fox Market Resin. That's etsy.com/shop/Arctic Fox Market Resin. When you visit the shop, view the inventory. You will be impressed. etsy.com/shop/Arctic Fox Market Resin.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host, Kathy. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Okay, so I don't spend too much time here talking about gun control. I've been talking about issues, for over 30 years now. And every time there's an incident, the liberals start talking about gun control, and I'm so tired of talking about gun control. But I do want to play a clip of Chris Hayes on MSNBC. He's the nighttime guy, and he's got some liberal jerk there, and they talk about conservatives not opposing doing away with guns. And let me play this exchange, and we'll talk about it. This is Chris Hayes, MSNBC.
When you say the word gun violence, one of the things that always strikes me here, and you see it here, is if you say the word crime, Republicans, there's nothing that's too much to go after crime in the big cities. crime. Crime is the enemy. Throw it. If you say gun violence, which is probably the most deadly subset of crime, all of a sudden it's like, well, what are you going to do? It's just, whatever the word is, that just changes everything.
Yeah, Chris, this is going to be hard, but for Republicans, crime is something that's committed by Black Americans.
Yes, right.
Gun ownership and gun violence is something that is part of the culture of young white men, and so Republicans protect it, and that's just the reality.
Oh, you're like the Nashville shooter, young white men?
He doesn't think young black men own guns? Has he been to Chicago?
Has he been to a gun store? I see black people at the gun range and the gun shows all the time.
Liberals love to stereotype people and paint you with a broad brush. And they really just have a very warped opinion of white people, black people, but it's useful to them. Yeah, we are tough on crime. And I mean, you could flip that on Chris Hayes too. You want these people to be okay, and they're excusing the shooter. A lot of them are saying that she was, had no other choice. It's warped. But look, like Megyn Kelly said, there's like 400 million guns. They're not going anywhere. It's our right to own guns.
That's right.
As American citizens. And these Democrats are going to do nothing about it. Even when they had control of the House, the Senate, and the White House, they did nothing about it. They never will do anything about it because they know there's nothing they can do. But as long as they're not in complete control, they can point fingers at the Republicans and blame them. And then their voters will say, yeah, it's their fault. It's ridiculous.
I really believe, this will sound like I'm joking, but I'm not. I really believe that the gun lobby want the Democrats in power, because when the Democrats are in power, they're always talking about gun control, and that's when gun sales are their highest.
Absolutely.
If you went to gun stores right now, they'd be in short supply. Because
after a shooting and they start talking about taking the guns, they sell more than ever.
Yeah, because people are afraid they won't be able to get them, or the price is going to go up. And they also load up on ammo because they're afraid ammo prices will go up.
Yeah.
So the biggest promoters and sellers of guns are the Democrats and the liberal media.
Yep.
But I just want to say a couple things about guns, and I want to move on in the gun control argument. The number one killer of children is not guns, as has been promoted all week. It's car accidents. What the liberals do is they add 18 and 19-year-olds into the statistics. They count 18 and 19-year-olds as children. And when you include 18 and 19-year-olds as children, then it's the number one.
Right.
But if you're only counting children, the number one cause of death among children are car accidents. Are we going to ban cars? And so far as gun deaths, most gun deaths are not murders. Most gun deaths are suicides. A lot of people don't know that. Most gun deaths in this country are suicides.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, yeah, because they don't want you to know that. I'm not saying that makes it a good thing, but I'm just telling you that person-on-person gun violence is quite uncommon and not nearly as common as they want you to believe. In fact, it's so uncommon when it does happen, it's news. If it was common, it would be like old news and wouldn't make headlines, all right? It'd be like, oh, another day, that's not interesting. We got to find something new, right? So, so a couple things about that. Now, I want to talk, because this is very important, what happened with Ron DeSantis and Disney. I was talking about this morning, and this is just insane. This caught everyone off guard, okay? This caught
especially him.
It caught DeSantis off guard. It took me about half a day for this story to break and develop before I could understand what actually happened. It was
it was
insane.
Weird.
So, Ron DeSantis got totally destroyed in his fight against Disney. He lost. And I thought that he won. And let me just give you the background and then tell you how he lost, okay? Because it's not being reported. The media want to promote DeSantis over Trump, although that's going to end soon because Trump is 30 points ahead DeSantis in the latest Fox poll.
That's right.
But the media aren't reporting what happened with DeSantis because they're still trying to pump him up. Now, because of Libs of TikTok, DeSantis got involved in some of this woke trans stuff and went after Disney. And you guys know that Disney had their own governing organization, the Reedy Creek, where they had their own government for that whole area. And this was established in 1967, and Walt Disney himself made the first move when the governor of Florida at the time was a Republican. Walt Disney was a Republican, and I'm sure he had a lot of friends in the Republican Party. And the Republican governor of Florida at the time gave Disney their own governing district, which is very important. Disney has the ability to tax in that city. It's like a city. It's the size of Manhattan. They have the right to tax. They're in charge of their own building inspectors and permitting for construction. That's a pretty big thing when you're doing construction like they do. There's many other things. They have the ability and permission to build an international airports if they choose, sporting stadiums. They even have the authority in all this document to build a nuclear power plant. I'm serious. If they want, it's stated in there.
They have a lot of land.
So, and it's their own city. It's their own municipality. And Ron DeSantis thought, and I thought, and everyone thought that he took that governing body away from Disney. Well, he didn't.
He thought so too.
And he took over the Reedy Creek, and the Reedy Creek board of directors are now not people appointed by Disney, but appointed by the governor. The problem is they have another governing body there, Disney, and the day before Florida passed legislation to take over Disney, the other governing body passed new legislation giving Disney complete control of that area forever. And they did it in a way that was amazing. I mean, I can't believe they beat Ron DeSantis. I'm in shock.
Well, he's going to hire lawyers now.
He lost it.
To look into to see if this is legally viable, if this is legally allowed.
It is allowed. It's done. And what they did,
he's not going to just walk away.
He's going to gripe about it, but he lost. What Disney did with their lawyers, and DeSantis announced about a year ago that he was going to do this. And Disney had been completely quiet over this whole year about it.
I knew they were up to something.
I was surprised how quiet they were. I thought they were secretly working out a deal with DeSantis, but that's not the case. Bob Iger, who runs Disney, and the Disney lawyers out of California came up with this. And they set it up so that Disney has not only control over that area forever, and they made sure of it, which I'll tell you how, which was insane. They made it a better deal than they had before. All DeSantis now has is responsibility for funding the infrastructure. Prior, Disney had to pay for the roads. They had to pay to maintain the roads on the Disney property, and they also had to pay for the entire infrastructure, which included the electricity, the power plants, because there's power plants there. It's a big area. The fire department, the paramedics, all these things. Florida now, Governor DeSantis has to pay for the fire department, the electricity, maintain the roads and all this stuff. So not only is Disney going to control this forever with more power, they can build skyscrapers there now if they want. They couldn't build skyscrapers before, now they can. But they have all the power they had and more, but they don't have the expenses of the infrastructure. Florida does, thanks to Governor DeSantis. And they put a clause, the Disney governing body put this clause in that sounds like a joke. It's called the King Charles clause. King Charles, Prince Charles. They put in there, and this is such a weird thing. I think they did this to just embarrass DeSantis.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Disney put this clause in this legislation called the King Charles clause that Disney will have complete control over this property for 21 years after the final descendant of King Charles dies.
I wonder why
that could be hundreds of years.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Or Disney vacates the property.
Why they came up with that, how that came about. But
I hope they tell the story.
It's got to upset DeSantis because now I personally don't think he's going to let this go. I don't know how he's going to pay to look into this. I read an article that said it would cost $1,300 an hour per person for the state to look into this, which I would not be happy with. I think he needs to cut his losses and move on, but I don't think he's going to do that. He's into this pissing contest now with Disney that he started. And, everybody thought, including him, that he had the better of them. But they were so quiet on everything and they acquiesced so easily. He should have known better. Even I was like thinking, and you and I talked about it, I said, I don't know, Disney's up to something. They're too quiet.
Yeah.
But this is not only an FU to him, it's like they're laughing at him. It's a humiliation. Yeah. And they probably came up with this scheme one night or this King Charles thing
King
and
Charles
just
clause.
laughing their butts off. And DeSantis is not going to be happy about that. He's got an ego like most politicians. And I think just the humiliation factor, he was doing while he was doing his victory laps, they were sitting behind closed doors laughing at this guy planning this massive move. It was a major chess move that nobody saw coming.
And Disney,
I don't think any politician has ever been played like this.
And Disney not only did it quietly, they did it on the last day before Florida took over.
Brilliant.
So there wouldn't be time to respond, and it would just be done. And here's the thing about it, okay? This has been a bad week and a half for DeSantis.
Yeah, it has.
And MAGA doesn't like Ron DeSantis anymore because he said that Bragg can come to Florida and arrest Trump, and he's not going to do anything about it.
Yeah, that was a big mistake.
And that
he
was
should have
it.
kept his mouth shut.
And with this story with Disney, I'm not taking pleasure in Ron DeSantis being humiliated. I'm not upset that he's humiliated because I'm ticked off at his behavior towards Trump over the Bragg thing. Yeah. But Disney saved America here possibly because we've thought for years, and when I say we, you guys too, we thought Ron DeSantis was going to be our second MAGA president, that he was going to be president in 2028.
He could have been.
And, well, thankfully, he's not going to be. If he got humiliated and outwitted by Mickey Mouse, Minnie Mouse, and Goofy like this, and a bunch of wokesters that have genders on their staff that I've never heard of before, how's he going to take on China, North Korea, and Russia?
Very true. And I think a lot of people are thinking the same thing. If he got bested by a company in this country,
an American company,
how's he going to take on these foreign dictators?
AOC,
he can't. He'll be outmatched.
AOC's dumb as a box of rocks, right? DeSantis isn't much better off than AOC. And, a lot of people talking about this, they say, oh, no, he's smart. He went to Harvard.
Harvard and Yale.
And he's a lawyer. Well, he only worked for the government. He was a Navy lawyer.
The street smarts like Trump. Trump's got the business savvy, the streets. Trump would have smelled this a mile away.
Never would have happened with Trump.
He would have definitely seen this coming. I mean, he could see a shady deal, and he probably would have said to his people, they're too quiet, something's going on, find out, ask around, let's see what's going on. And he would have made sure that he outmaneuvered them. Mm-hmm. DeSantis the rug was pulled out from under him on this. And I really don't think he's going to win this battle, no matter what he does. I know he's going to try because he's got a safe face. But this, like you said, this new poll is out from Fox. So he's heard of it because there's lots of polls, but this is a Fox poll. And Trump is leading by 30 points. And I think that gap's going to get bigger over the next week or two because of this Disney thing. And I think he's really going to start losing even more donors. And I didn't realize how in he was with Karl Rove and the Bushes. And I mean, he's their guy.
No one knew.
He's in with them now. And
maybe always
MAGA, the Trump voters don't like that at all. I mean, he just aligned himself with the wrong people.
Couple things, okay? DeSantis, the way I was describing him this morning is he's a spokesmodel. He's like out of central casting.
You think so?
He sounds great. He looks great. He sounds tough. He says the right things. But when it comes to actually doing it, he can't do it. It's like he's an actor, right? He's acting like this strong MAGA Trump-like guy.
Yeah.
But when it comes to, President Trump.
The veil has fallen off.
President Trump, I want you guys to think about this. When President Trump took the Trump Organization and moved into Manhattan, which his dad did not want him to do, because, they had a comfortable business in Queens and all this stuff.
Yeah.
The people that you have to deal with in New York City in the construction business, I mean, you're dealing with the mob. You're dealing with unions. You're dealing with thugs. And President Trump has New York street smarts. He's dealt with cunning, very sinister people in when he's doing his construction
and
all of that.
Politics too.
And that's why it translated so well into politics.
Yeah.
And Ron DeSantis just isn't ready. If he would have been President Trump's vice president, he would have been mentored and learned. It's like when some of you have listened to me, believe it or not. Some people that are out there are listening to this program have listened to me for 30 years, and wherever I've been over the years. When I was first starting out on the air, you guys hear how I am with callers and guests and how I am on the show. This is not how I was when I first started 30 years ago, okay? And I dealt with I was as good with the hostile callers as Ron DeSantis was with Disney. I lost a lot of those calls, okay, a lot of those debates. And but I got experience. I learned. Steve Kane taught me how to do this business and everything else. So, Ron DeSantis, he was starting to be mentored by the greatest president ever, Donald Trump. And he told his mentor before he learned, I don't need you anymore. And a lot of mentors, will say, I've taught you. Have you heard this phrase? I taught you everything you know, but I haven't taught you everything I know. Yeah. Have you ever heard that expression?
Oh, yeah.
And he didn't give Donald Trump a chance to teach him anything that he knew because he got very arrogant. And what I find with DeSantis and the way that he behaved with Bragg coming down here and he can kidnap President Trump on a fake warrant.
That was pretty bad.
And put him on Rikers Island. He won't do anything about it. And this thing with Disney, it shows not just that he's arrogant, but he's very immature.
He did not want to stop Bragg because he wants Trump to be indicted.
He wanted Trump out of the way.
That's why he did it. He wants Trump out of the way. And that's all been part of the plan. But now we know that Bragg's the jury, they're not going to meet for a month now.
No, it's done.
It's done. You know why? Because they got nothing and they're on another fishing expedition looking for more witnesses, more this, more that. They're going to find nothing. They're putting it off because they don't want to come out and tell you it's over. So they're hoping people will forget about it.
That's right.
And it'll just go away and that's it. But don't forget. And don't forget how DeSantis treated him. And it really upsets me. And I said this before, DeSantis has been working with a very friendly legislature here ever since he's been in office. He's never had to take on anybody. And then the one time he takes on a company that's a liberal company, he gets his clock cleaned. Big time. I mean, I don't know how he's going to fare in D.C. I don't think, like you said, he's book smart. He's Ivy League educated. But like Biden, he has but like a lot of these politicians, he has no life experience. I think that's why people like Trump so much is because he's a businessman, he's a scrapper, and he knows. And I think after being president, I really feel him skipping a term for whatever, the way things went down is going to benefit him because it's going to give him perspective. And he said in his last speech, I know who to trust now and who not to trust. And that is a superpower when you do that. He went into the office the first time very naive, and he's not a naive guy, but he's a trusting guy. And he went in and trusted, and then he quickly realized, I'm playing a whole different game here. Yeah. This is like nothing else I've ever played. These people you talk about gangsters and people in New York, politicians are worse. They're cutthroat, and they will destroy your life for power and money. That's clear. I mean, look at AOC defending TikTok. She wasn't even on TikTok. All of a sudden, she's got a TikTok account and she's defending it. She'll do anything for money. I mean, that's how these people are. I don't want to say the phrase, but they'll do anything for money. You know where I'm going with this. But do you think DeSantis is redeemable at this point done. Now? Or do you think he's done? Is there anything he can do or say to make himself right with MAGA again?
He would have to.
Or is it too late?
This is what he'd have to do. He'd have to go to Mar-a-Lago on a live stream with President Trump and beg for the forgiveness of President Trump and MAGA, like Jimmy Swaggart when he got busted with the hooker.
With the crying.
And the crying.
Yeah.
And then still we wouldn't forgive him. No, you can't trust him.
You can't, they wouldn't believe him.
There was something that happened with DeSantis I missed, and Laura Loomer picked up on this. Loomer tweeted this, and the other day, Karl Rove was on Fox, and he was talking about Ron DeSantis' presidential campaign, and Karl Rove referred to DeSantis' presidential campaign as our campaign. But, so that means he's
going to run, and he's in charge of.
No, he's not running now. They're going to drop him. He's not electable now.
Karl Rove is so desperate to have a winner and to be back in the White House with the guy that he put.
He could take a tour one day.
He was hoping it would be Jeb Bush. It didn't happen, and he is so desperate to get back into that D.C. crowd and to be sitting at the right hand of the president, manipulating him and controlling him.
Yeah.
And obviously DeSantis is easily controlled by these guys because he's doing their bidding, and it's destroying his career. His poor wife, she's going to have to return all her stupid white gloves that she bought for her Jackie Kennedy wardrobe.
Yeah. Well, speaking of doing anything for money, if you would like to advertise on the podcast,
That's a good segue.
yeah, it is. No, I'm serious. If you, I won't do anything for money, but if you have something you would like to advertise on the program, email us. Go to my website, briancraigshow.com. Email us on my website, briancraigshow.com. Tell us what you would like to advertise. If you have a link, send that to us so we can take a look at it. And then we'll get back to you. And our advertising rates are very affordable and very fair. So go to briancraigshow.com and email us there if you would like to advertise on the podcast. We'll be right back.
Discover the stages of love and the stories we've attached to them, and heal yourself through the power of journaling. For the Love of Yourself Journal, 7 relationship stages to growth, forgiving, healing, and renewal. A guided journal from author Tanisha Yates. We all experience relationships of all kinds, and each experience contributes to our growth. In this journal, you will learn to forgive yourself and face your fears, reclaiming your power and unlocking your love. It's time to start your healing process and journal your way to emotional freedom so you can find love to live for. From author Tanisha Yates, for the Love of Yourself Journal, 7 relationship stages to growth, forgiving, healing, and renewal. Order your copy on Amazon right now. There's no doubt about it. Writing can be very therapeutic when it comes to healing. The book from author Zen Taranto, Broken and Blessed, is the inspiring true story of one woman's battle with amnesia and the discovery of the healing power of writing. Broken and Blessed delves into the scary world of memory loss because of dissociative amnesia. As a testament to the power of writing therapy, this life-changing book details how amnesia sufferers can break the bonds of memory loss and enrich their lives through writing exercises. With journal prompts to spark your inspiration and plenty of authentic advice from authors in Toronto, Broken and Blessed is a comforting read that will give solace to anybody struggling with memory issues. Remember, time is free, but not yours. No one guarantees tomorrow will be ours. Order your copy of Broken and Blessed from authors in Toronto on Amazon. Are you looking for high-quality digital products to enhance your daily life? Look no further than digitalcobyaya.etsy.com. That's YAHYA. Digital Co by Yaya specialize in a wide range of digital products that are perfect for any occasion, from stunning abstract art to practical planners and business card templates. They have everything you need to make your day-to-day life more beautiful and organized. Planning a special occasion? Digital Co by Yaya have you covered with a collection of birthday invitations that's sure to impress. With a variety of eye-catching designs to choose from, you're sure to find the perfect invite to make your celebration one to remember. Shopping at digitalcobyaya.etsy.com is easy and convenient. Simply browse their collection, add your favorite products to your cart, and check out. That's it. Plus, all of their digital products are available for instant download, so you can start enjoying them right away. Don't wait. Visit digitalcobyaya.etsy.com. That's YAHYA. Explore their collection of digital products and add a little beauty and organization to your everyday life. digitalcobyaya.etsy.com. Did you know that every year, 975 innocent people are being locked up? DeAndre Daniels is one of them. He was sentenced to 47 years in prison for a crime he did not commit. This could happen to your loved one, your son, brother, uncle, father, or husband. You can help by bringing awareness to this injustice and help DeAndre get a new and fair trial. Sign the petition at change.org under DeAndre D. Daniels. To learn more, visit asateamwematter.life. Don't let another innocent person suffer. Sign the petition and help bring justice for DeAndre and others like him. Find the petition at change.org under DeAndre D. Daniels.
You are listening to The Brian Craig Show podcast, broadcasting from sunny South Florida. Brian is joined by his wife and co-host, Kathy. Follow Brian on social media at briancraigshow.com. And now, Brian and Kathy.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian, always joined by my wife and co-host Kathy. You know, I've been watching on Twitter all day. I don't know if this has been on television because I haven't had the fake news on. But this is the beginning of what is going to be a weekend. It's a 4-day weekend of the trans demonstrations going on.
Oh,
and
fun for the whole family.
The trans have broken into the state legislative bodies in Texas, Kentucky, in Tennessee. And in Tennessee in particular, today, within the last few hours, the trans left protesters busted into the Capitol's chambers, the chambers in the Tennessee. Yeah.
Well,
yeah, during session.
I hope they do to them what they did to the shaman.
Yeah, some people are calling this the transurrection.
Oh, that's
and
a good name.
It's a good name, the transurrection.
Very clever.
And, this, notice here we are, it is Thursday, and one of my predictions came true.
Yeah.
When we had this tragic killing in Nashville, I told you by Thursday the story is going to be gone because it doesn't fit the narrative, and it's almost completely evaporated from the news. But you found the story today, Kathy. There was a piece I did not know that the killer was being counseled by a pastor at the school.
Not only a pastor, the pastor of the church, and she killed his daughter because he wasn't there.
One of the 9-year-olds was the daughter of the pastor who was counseling her.
She went there. It's written in her manifesto. She went there to kill him and probably a few other people. He wasn't there, and so she went. I guess she knew exactly. I don't know how she would know this, but she knew exactly where his daughter was. Apparently, maybe he told her in therapy. I don't know. But I think the left will spin this that he was trying to do conversion therapy on her, and that's what made her snap. I'm sure that's what they'll say. There's no justification for killing children or anybody, innocent person. But also what's interesting is a friend of hers, she had left her messages through Instagram that she was going to die this day and she would hear about it in the news. Well, what does that tell you? That she's going to take people with her. And she called the police and told them and showed them screenshots and everything, and they just didn't act quickly enough, and it was too late. But here's you have these people, like you just said, going to the capital of these various cities, Nashville and all this for guns and stuff. This is why these shooters do this, because look at what's happening now. Because what she did, she's like a folk hero to these people now.
Yeah.
Because her action is the catalyst.
She's a martyr to them.
She's a martyr, and now there's like a whole movement, like just like with the guy that got the neck,
George
Floyd.
Yes.
Now there'll be paintings of her, statues, whatever they want to do. She's a martyr now.
Bizarre.
And which is so crazy because they're advocating for gun restrictions, but they'll say that she was driven to this. And that it'll be her legacy, even though it's so crazy, even though she used guns to kill children, they'll say it's her legacy for gun restrictions, that's her legacy. I mean, I'm telling you, that's how they're going to twist this, where she's the hero.
The thing, I got a great call from someone today.
Liberals are messed up.
Got a great call from someone today, and he said they're all talking about mental health. He says maybe because trans people are on so many hormones that affect the mood, maybe they shouldn't be allowed to buy guns if they're going through this because it throws your mind out of balance.
It does. I mean, we all been through puberty and hormones, and Brian has seen this with me going through menopause. It's your hormones can make you. Of course, I wouldn't go do anything like that, but they can make you kind of crazy. But if you're injecting young people and playing mad scientist with these kids, when they're when you're a teenager, your brain is developing. It's not developed. Yeah. Your brain chemistry is not stable anyway. Your hormones are not stable. Everything is just gearing up and getting going. You're going to puberty. Girls are just getting their menstrual cycles and other things, and things are just getting going. It's like we saw with our own daughter. It's like somebody flicks a switch, and boom, you got like a different person. So to go in like a mad scientist and start monkeying around. Now she was 28, but who knows if she started hormone therapy when it happened or whatever. Clearly she was seeking guidance. I don't know, maybe her parents forced her to go to therapy. I don't know. It doesn't justify though what she did, but I think that guy was right. Monkeying around with these kids. And there's hormones in foods. I mean, hormones do affect how you behave, how you act. And when you're interjecting synthetic hormones that don't belong there, it is going to affect their behavior.
Yeah.
You're putting in synthetic hormones that are not meant to be in the body.
That's right.
And they put hormones in foods and all this stuff. It's got to affect people.
Like, for example, it's illegal to be in possession of a firearm while you're intoxicated, right? Even though alcohol is legal. These hormones have effects on your judgment, your mood.
Well, Marjorie Taylor Greene should jump on that and should try to get some legislation passed that if you're taking hormone things of any kind, you should not be allowed to buy any kind of gun.
If you,
but I don't know if she'd do that because I guess that's under gun control.
Now, a lot of people will say that this is, on the left will say that we're bigots by saying this, but if you go, I retweeted.
They're going to say that anyway, Brian.
Yeah, I retweeted some of the video of the transurrections that are going on in America today, where they're breaking into the capitals of these different states. These are people that are trans because it's this trans vengeance weekend thing they're doing.
Yes.
These people, their moods are off. They're very angry, and the reason they're this, you know what it's like. What I'm seeing from them, it's a lot like roid rage. You know, people that are, you've heard of roid rage?
Yeah, people that take steroids.
People that take steroids sometimes become violent. Their moods are out of
Yes.
That's what's going on with these trans people. And if you see them going into these capitals, they're not with it. They're just in a total rage.
You know,
it's got to be the hormones.
If you look at the footage of Tucker Carlson inside the Capitol and compare it to what I saw today inside the Capitol at Nashville, there's a huge difference in the behavior. The kids in the Capitol at Nashville were very frightening, and they stormed the chamber and everything, screaming and yelling. They were calling for violence, all these horrible things. But if you watch the shaman and the J6, they were just strolling around, walking in between the partitions.
That's true.
You know, strolling along, just taking pictures, admiring the building. And, you know, the people that were breaking the windows, we knew who they were. But the people that came in and kind of followed the crowd, once they got in the building, they were really just kind of walking around and this and that. But
these transurrectionists are attacking police officers, the state police that are guarding these places. They're knocking them out of the way. It's pretty brutal.
I think it's safe to say that with the hormones and all this, but a lot of these young people are jumping on this bandwagon that aren't even trans, you know, but they just have anger issues and they just want to be mad and fight about something. But I think the hormones and the drugs and whatever they give them definitely are having an impact on their behavior. And the thing is, when you grow up, and if you're lucky enough to make it to an older age, most people mature and look back and realize how stupid they acted without the help of synthetic hormones.
It's so bizarre, the groups of people that the Democrats are aligning themselves with.
I always say
today.
they need new heroes. They just have horrible heroes.
When President Trump came down the escalator, he started this whole political movement in this country that have cost the Democrats so much of their base of support. They're going out to the dregs of humanity to build a new base.
That's true,
and
that's true. They're scraping the bottom of the barrel.
Are they real? They are. I want to take a moment to thank our Patreon supporters for their support of the program. Thank you so much, guys, and your support helps us a lot, and it means a lot. Those of you that are Patreon supporters have access to commercial-free editions of all of our podcast episodes. I want to welcome a new Patreon supporter. Joining us just now, Sparks.
Welcome,
okay.
Sparks.
Yeah, Sparks. Welcome as a Patreon supporter. Our top Patreon supporters get a live on-air thank you shout-out on each and every podcast episode. So the names you will hear now are our top Patreon supporters. I want to thank Andrew and Connie, Christine, ETW, Chuck, D, Pamela, Rick, Nick, Wesley, Macho, Rome, Wisconsin, Mike P., Carlos, Paulette, John, and Arctic Fox. These are our top Patreon supporters. If you would like to become a Patreon supporter, there's a link in the description of this and every episode of the program. There's also a direct link on my website, briancraigshow.com, and the direct website address to our Patreon page is patreon.com/Real Brian Craig Show. Patreon.com/Real Brian Craig Show. There was a video that I wanted to play. You actually retweeted this on my, Kathy is my social media.
Yes.
What do you call that? Administrator. What do you call this social media person?
I guess social media person. I'm like Dan Scavino kind of.
Yes. I do. I do tweet, and most of what you see on my Twitter are things that I've tweeted, when I read news stories and things like this. But Kathy also has access to all my social media and post up there too sometimes. And you posted a video. It's a short video. I want to play this. It's a guy in California making his proposal for reparations.
Yes, this is good.
To African Americans in California.
Yeah, California is going down this very bad rabbit hole that I don't think they're going to be able to get out of.
Yeah.
I mean, they really opened a can of worms. They opened Pandora's box with this crew.
They're talking about $8 million per black person.
That's not all. I mean, they want a lot more too.
Yeah. So let me play this. This is a guy. He's talking to a group, a government group, and with his reparations proposal for California. It's outrageous, really.
I believe that $5 million in reparations is too little for the work that foundational Black Americans have done for this country and as well for other countries. I believe that $7.6 million is a number that can be used very wisely in our foundational Black American communities. 40 acres is also still a good idea, and instead of a mule, we would like a tractor. I also believe that we should know the name of all the companies that participated in the slave trade so we, foundational Black Americans, can start up our own companies. We should also be allowed to have a choice to learn our mother language other than Spanish or French in our educational classes. We have the Tut language that was started right here in America. During slavery, we have Swahili, Yoruba, Igbo, Zulu, and even Hausa. Community colleges and universities should not raise their tuition prices for the next future generations of each foundational Black Americans family, and we should be able to change our names to our mother land names totally for free. All types of real estate should not go up in price, but it is our land that was supposed to be for us. But as we all know, it was never given.
Okay. This talk of reparations used to be years ago. Reparations was a big thing in the 80s and 90s, and then it disappeared and it's back. And the reason it's back is because, in this great country that we have, in the last 10, 15 years, we finally have economic equality. And, Kathy and I are not that old, but I'm going to be, next month is my 50, I'll be 52 next month.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I still feel like a kid. I do. But, I know that's old compared to some of you, but it's not old. But we're old enough to remember when there was some real racism. I've told you guys this. I don't want to go through stories, but when I first moved to Florida, it was not. I was a little kid. It was from Ohio. It was not long after segregation had ended in the South, and I can remember being at the grocery store.
Yeah, only like 15 years later.
Yeah,
really.
I was at the grocery store. My first regular job was working at Publix, the grocery store here. And anytime a black family came in shopping, the managers would follow them around. It's terrible. I mean. Yeah. But that was like 40 years ago, okay, almost. That was in the 80s. And
a lot of those managers grew up in the 60s.
They went to segregated schools and stuff.
That was the mentality,
Yeah, they went to segregated schools and things like that. So they were old Southern racist, and it was I couldn't believe it. It was very difficult for me when I first moved to Florida to see that kind of stuff from Ohio.
Yeah, a Yankee in the South.
But yeah, exactly. We didn't have that kind of stuff in Ohio. They didn't follow black people around the store shopping. And there were other things too, but that I saw which I just couldn't understand.
Yeah.
And but anyway,
and Florida is the South. Don't get it twisted.
We're many decades now beyond the civil rights movement, and then in the last few years is when I see that there's always been in all of our lifetimes wealthy black people, but now there's a very large not just black middle class. Black upper middle class. So we finally have true equality, not just with access to things, but economic equality.
Well, not just that, and with marriage. I mean, our neighbor she's like in her 80s, and she's a black lady. Her husband was white.
Yeah, he died of cancer.
And they got married in the 60s.
When it was illegal.
Yeah, I mean,
for interracial marriage in Florida.
She talked to us about that when we first met her. And that was very brave, but back then they dealt with real racism. Now black and white people get married. It's a good thing, and nobody even bats an eyelash.
And we have an interracial family, and I got to tell you, we've had our daughter, as you guys know that listen regularly, is black, and she just turned 24. Right, she's 24.
Yep,
I was forgetting. It's hard to remember all these numbers.
Yeah.
But our daughter just turned 24.
Can you say you felt young?
Yeah, she's black, and we have not encountered racism in our family. Our daughter has not had these things happen. But anyway, we finally have what I'm talking about is economic equality. And what happens when people become middle class and upper middle class is when they start paying income taxes. I don't mean payroll taxes. Payroll taxes are like those deductions you get out of your paycheck at work. But when you get into the middle and upper middle class is when you start owing money at the tax time. You start owing money to the IRS.
Yeah.
That's paying income tax.
And you're working hard and you're seeing your money leaving your bank account and,
Yeah. So when people reach middle class and upper middle class and beyond, but at those levels and they start paying income tax, they tend to become conservative.
Yeah, usually.
Because they don't want, because they start saying to themselves, wow, I'm working 4 or 5 months a year just to pay taxes for a bunch of freeloaders. And they become conservative. So minorities in very large numbers in the last 10, 15 years have been becoming Republican because of that, plus Trump,
Because the economics have changed and things like that, you're saying.
So this reparations talk, it's never going to happen. What they're proposing in California is more than 2 times the entire state budget of California. So the reason they're talking about it, the Democrats, Biden is now talking about putting together a commission looking at the federal government giving reparations.
Good luck.
Is a desperate attempt to try to get African Americans who have left the Democrat Party to come back with the promise of reparations.
That's exactly right.
It's a scheme.
Let me tell you something. I hope they do it in California because it will. They're already bleeding people like crazy. They've lost like a huge chunk of their population. And they have a new mansion tax now. So all these liberal celebrities like Jim Carrey are selling their mansions so they don't have to pay this tax. But let them do it in California and let them bankrupt that state. So it shows the whole nation. And let me tell you, if Biden and them, which I don't think it would ever go anywhere, they do these things before elections to get people excited. But if they ever passed it, it would be the death blow to that party. Because it would bankrupt the country. And liberals, we all know, they never stop asking for stuff. They're never happy. They're never satisfied. You give them an inch, they take 10 miles. That's what's going on now. They got their foot in the door, and now they're like, oh man, well, what else can we get out of this? That's what I mean? Now I just read an article that $15 minimum wage, now they want $20, $25. It's never enough. People are never happy. They take advantage, and that's what. So let's, California. They don't call it the land of fruits and nuts for nothing. Of course, our daughter lives there, but thank goodness she's conservative. But let it happen there, and let them show the country what a disaster this would be for their state budget. It's lunacy. And then who decides who gets what? We watched Gettysburg last night. And we've been reading up and watching about the Civil War. I was almost in tears. It was just a movie, but it was based on obviously a real battle. They had actors playing the real men. They gave an update at the end, what happened to the men. And I just was watching this, and to see Americans fighting and with bayonets and killing each other was so upsetting to me to see that happen at Gettysburg. And I understand slavery was wrong and it needed to be stopped. But how many men in the North died? They even said in this movie that we were dying to make men free. We want to make the black man free. That was what that war was about. So like you said to me, their reparations were paid by the blood of those men. And that's where it should end. I know they were promised land, whatever. That was a long, long time ago. It has nothing to do with us. But all those men in the Union Army that died to free those slaves, they did the right thing. It had to happen. But I think that's reparations enough. They paid with their lives. These were young men that had bright futures. And it was so sad because you would just see they had a regiment of like 1,000, and in a day we dwindled down to 100. I mean, they would die so quickly. It was awful. Yeah,
well, it's like they said, just in Gettysburg alone, about 50,000 Americans died at Gettysburg.
53,000.
Now, that includes the Confederates, but they were Americans too. Right?
Yeah, I mean, still.
Yeah, and a lot of civilians died too. 500,000 Americans died in the Civil War. 500,000. And you know what? And the population was a lot smaller then, about a tenth of what it is today. So that would be that's like millions and millions today. That's how many people died in the Civil War.
I don't know how this reparations thing got legs, but the problem is the liberals
have been
teasing it. They've been teasing it for years to manipulate the black voter. They've been dangling it like catnip. And now they've been doing it so long that they're actually
That's
starting
right.
to make headway with this, and they're thinking, "Oh my gosh, what did we start here? This is crazy."
Now we have an anniversary coming up next week on Wednesday. Wednesday next week, it will be 2 months that we've been sleeping on our MyPillow 2.0s with cooling technology. Isn't that something, Kathy? 2 months, Wednesday next week. I know, it's amazing that I know that, right?
It is.
Yeah, I know. Well, because
you remember things.
Well, we got the MyPillow 2.0 the Wednesday after I came back from the cruise. That's how I know.
Okay.
But it's going to be 2 months, Wednesday next week. And the MyPillow 2.0, which has cooling technology, is buy one, get one free. You will love it. Go to mypillow.com.
Oh, yeah.
Now, a great way to support the program and all the content that I bring to you, the radio show, my YouTube channel, the podcast here with Kathy, is by going to mypillow.com and buy something with our promo code Kane at checkout, K-A-N-E. All the specials at mypillow.com, no matter what they say on the website, you can take advantage of them with our promo code Kane, K-A-N-E, not just the ones that we talk about. I highlight the ones that I think are the best deals, and I know that the MyPillow 2.0 buy one, get one free offer is going to disappear without notice because it is so incredibly popular. They're selling them like crazy because they're so good. The word of mouth on them, you've heard people talk about them.
The reviews are in. You're getting a lot of people are telling us how much they love them.
Yeah.
Everybody that buys
incredible.
them pretty much.
So go to mypillow.com. The MyPillow 2.0, it has that same patented fill inside, but is made with the cooling technology pillow so that your head and your face don't get warm at night, don't get hot at night, so you never flip your pillow over for the cool side ever again. And every time you flip your pillow over, even if you don't remember it, you're waking up and you're no longer in REM sleep. So go to mypillow.com, buy your MyPillow 2.0 with cooling technology with our promo code Kane, K-A-N-E at checkout. Buy one, get one free. We'll talk to you guys next time.
Are you a truck or car enthusiast looking to upgrade your ride? Look no further than GroundZeroCustoms.com. GroundZeroCustoms.com is an online store specializing in aftermarket performance and appearance upgrades. They have a vast inventory of high-quality parts and accessories, and they have everything you need to take your vehicle to the next level. GroundZeroCustoms.com offer the best brands in the business, including Baja Designs, Mickey Thompson Tires, 4Play, and that's just the beginning. Whether you're looking for lighting upgrades or suspension modifications, they have you covered. Plus, GroundZeroCustoms.com understand that each vehicle is unique, which is why they offer a wide range of specialized parts and accessories. Upgrade your ride and make it truly your own. Go to GroundZeroCustoms.com and discover the possibilities. You will find an unbeatable selection and everything you need to take your vehicle to the next level. Start shopping right now at GroundZeroCustoms.com.